Good afternoon. My name is Greg Nean. I am the Superintendent of Schools for the School District of Waupaca, and I am here to talk to you about the athletic campus improvements. How did we get here? The district had its liability insurance carrier conduct a hazard assessment in the year 2011. At that time, a number of hazards and upgrades had been identified for the district to address. When the insurance carrier repeated the hazard assessment in the fall of 2016, a number of the items originally identified remained on the list of concerns. Knowledge of that ongoing liability caused the school board and the administration to take action. The action taken by the board and administration was to contract with the Rattler Corporation out of Stevens Point, Wisconsin, to examine the Habercorn Field site and propose solutions for the district's consideration. Some of the existing site needs or concerns at Habercorn Field included a structural review conducted by a structural engineer of the current grandstands at Habercorn. The cost to fix the existing grandstands proved to be greater than providing new bleachers at the existing site. If improvements at the site would still require busing for home games and would only benefit the football program. There are approximately 80 high school participants in the football program and around another 40 middle school level football program participants. So the number of students served at this facility is roughly 120 students. Other site concerns at Habercorn Field include the existing track surface. The track area has been deemed unsafe as it has a number of slip, trip, and fall hazards. There are a number of gaps where the track surface has been sealed over time. There are areas where water collects, and when we have cold fall nights, freezes and becomes a slip hazard. And there are a number of uneven areas on the track that cause potential trip or fall hazards. The track area would be costly to repair or replace. Parking is limited at the Habercorn Field site, and there are multiple points of access, which is contrary to the recommendations of our insurance carrier as well as WIAA. The field is in very poor condition. There is oftentimes standing water on the field after it rains. However, the proposed solution to the Habercorn Field site would do nothing in as far as upgrading the field condition itself. There are a number of supervision and safety concerns for our students at Habercorn in its current form. Habercorn is an area that has a number of wooded areas and areas that are not well lit, which provides a safety concern for staff members, as we have hundreds of students that show up to many of our games, our football games. Transportation costs must be provided for the home team as it is off of site from our high school campus. Some potential site solutions include the consideration of consolidating the property and maintenance efforts, move all field sports to the current high school campus, which again does mitigate the insurance as well as some transportation concerns. We would still have a need to transport our middle school students to the high school campus, however, as our middle school students also use the current Habercorn facility, as I mentioned earlier. However, by consolidating at the high school campus, we would eliminate the maintenance of 2 competition natural turf fields to 1 synthetic turf surface. We would create a stadium element at the high school campus that would serve multiple activities, including track, soccer, football, baseball, softball, our Phi Ed classes, and summer recreation programs. One might ask, how did baseball and softball get thrown in there? In the springtime, when our baseball and softball athletes and coaches are outside, or rather when they're inside, using the gymnasium for their infield practice, during nice spring days, that synthetic turf is going to clear off and be available for use earlier than natural turf. Thus, it will be a benefit and a resource for our baseball and softball teams as well. We would reuse the current grandstands and move those grandstands over to the visitor side for a cost savings. The current press box at Habercorn Field would also be reused and moved over to the new high school campus location, and we would propose constructing a new 1,500-seat bleacher grandstand for the home team. The total number of seats at the at the high school campus would be around 2,000, and a number of seats with that capacity would allow the district to also host playoff and sectional games. Sectional and playoff games, as you might suspect, will bring new families to our district, and with that will come resources to support local businesses. In addition, the synthetic turf, as proposed, includes a concussion pad that significantly reduces head injuries as well as lower and upper body extremity injuries. These injuries are fewer than would be sustained on the natural turf field. Finally, at the high school campus consideration, parking, concession, and restroom expansion would be considered and implemented. The district wants the public to know that we did not look at Habercorn Field in isolation. Rather, the administration and the board has considered the big picture of the district. So if the district were to move away from the Habercorn Field site, we have a number of lights that have been recently purchased that could be sold to offset the costs of the new construction, or could be reused at either the soccer practice fields or the baseball and softball fields to create additional options for sporting venues. Campus parking at the current soccer practice field could be a multi-function parking area for a number of different sport venues. Concessions, restrooms, and storage buildings have also been considered at the soccer practice facility site. The district is considering the sale of the district office and utilizing or leveraging those funds to, again, offset the costs of new construction. In addition, the Habercorn Field resource would also be considered for sale, and those resources would be used to support the expenditures or offset the costs of new construction. You can see some of the potential site solutions that are incorporated into this slide. The new track surface, the new grandstands, the improved triple jump area and pole vault area, as well as the athletic turf field. The proposed facility on the high school campus would entail a single point of entry. That single point of entry will allow the district to provide adequate supervision for our students, as well as an opportunity to thank our local donors for supporting this potential project. The parking lot on the south side of the high school would be restriped to gain an additional 150 parking spots. When we add those parking spots on the north and south lots at the high school, we are looking at the possibility of 698 parking spaces. The longest walk from the north lot would be 1,570 feet, and the longest walk from the south lot would be approximately 1,570 feet, and from the north lot, 2,350 feet. When we compare that to the 4,000-seat stadium at Appleton North, our options would have equal or more parking spaces, and the walk comparison is comparable. This slide indicates potential site upgrades for the parking addition at the soccer field, and illustrates 160 parking spaces on a new blacktop surface, which is currently gravel. The synthetic turf in this slide number 12, illustrates the layers that allow for the concussion pad, as well as for drainage, which is equal to or better than, in most cases, natural turf. There are a number of slides in this presentation that allow for donor recognition opportunities, everything from signage on the field itself to scoreboards or recognition walls, placards, archways, pavers, entry statements, and concession or restroom opportunities exist as well. The cost for the potential improvement of the athletic fields at the high school campus are approximately $2.3 million. And you can see some very generalized costs make up that $2.3 million number. Compared to the improvements at the Habercorn Field site, coming in at $730,000, which again do not include any field improvements, bring us to a difference between the two projects of about $1.5 or $1.6 million. Additionally, the potential improvement costs at the soccer field, the practice soccer field site, come in at approximately $825,000, and again, the majority of those costs come in with the paved parking lot and the new building and site amenities. At this time, the board really has three options to consider. Number one, they can consider investing $730,000 in the Habercorn Field site, which would impact a small number of students and athletes. Number two, invest approximately $2.3 million at the high school campus, which would impact a larger number of students and athletes. And finally, number three, invest approximately $3.1 million in the high school campus and soccer facility, which would obviously impact the greatest number of students and athletes. The takeaways from today: number one, the district must do something to address the safety of our students and community members at the current Habercorn Field site. Number 2, the proposed athletic complex or improvements will serve soccer, track, football, softball, baseball, physical education, and possibly summer recreation activities. Number 3, the district has considered the big picture of the district needs, not just football in isolation. And finally, number 4, a new facility on campus would reflect the high-quality district and community that Waupaca has become known to be.